cultural conflict problems, war. And in that case, I think gradually, and perhaps even more and more rapidly now, there is a change in people's mindset. And that is what counts. Ultimately, understand, change yourself, change your consciousness, and then try to act differently.
And the power men have to reach the moon, is that the same power you talk about if it comes to changing your mind?
Well, somebody had the vision. Kennedy, at that time, has articulated this vision. I'd like to see a man on the moon, you see. And that had to have the whole Apollo project. It was a very serious project. Like before the Manhattan Project, the nuclear bomb. These are big projects. We need to have big projects like that. In addition to the mindset change in individuals, we have to have big projects. How to cope with climate change, for example, we can do it. How to have sufficient water for all people, we can do it. In all levels, whatever you look, we could do it, but we have to have the vision, and we have to pull together, and we have to start implementing.
And that's all because we are all interconnected, you say?
We have the same fate, the same destiny. There's no such thing as saying back, okay, I live in Holland, it doesn't affect me.
Yes.
Where we are now in Hungary, a lot of people might say, well, we are just a small country, a poor country, what can we do, and it doesn't affect us anyway. It's not true. It affects everybody, and everybody has a role. We are sharing the same planet, and we have to change our ways, otherwise this planet doesn't allow all of us to survive.
So is there a connection between the sickness of the earth and our greediness?
We are creating the sickness of the earth. Our greediness is a kind of a cancer. Look at this analogy, it's interesting to my mind. What is a cancer cell, basically? A cancer cell says, I don't care about the organism in which I grew up. I want to reproduce, you know? And they grow independent of the good of the organism. And that's greediness, you know? And then eventually it has a bad end because it kills the organism, then the cells themselves have to die. Okay. So humanity, in a way, business as usual, has turned into a kind of a cancer because it says, I don't care about nature, I don't care about other people, I'm going to look for my own profits and my own wealth and accumulate as much as possible of it, and then we break down the system. I believe our body and the body of the planet, of the Gaia system, are intimately connected. It's my scientific work, you know, on saying about this field that connects all of us, which I call the Akashic field. Yes, we are so connected that we are part of that whole system. Just like any one cell or any one organ in your body is connected to the whole body. If the whole body is healthy, it helps each cell, each organ to function better, you know. But we can't expect the planet itself to heal us. We have to now take this step to heal the planet. Then, in a whole planet, we will also be able to live healthier. We are the only part of this planet that has this level of consciousness where we can look ahead. We can understand not only what we are, but what are the consequences.
So we are very responsible.
We are the only person, we are the cancer on this planet, but we could be the healer also of the planet.
This idea of the body, it's also very religious. But do you think man needs religion?
Well, certain elements of what all religions have incorporated appears also in spirituality, not only in organized religion. But some of these elements are very much needed. One of the basic elements is the sense of oneness, belonging, you know. This concept very interesting. In the last few months already, I've had half a dozen books appearing, sent to me on oneness. The science of oneness, the oneness university, etc., you know. And it's just coming up everywhere. The idea of you being one with nature. In religion, it means one with God also, you know. But we are not separate. One of the key problems that we have, this sense that I'm separate, you know. It doesn't concern me what happens to you, what happens to nature, what happens to other people, because they are not me. Dividing the world into me and not me. And that's one of the roots of our problems. And in that respect, we need science, we need spirituality, we need religion.
Yes. It struck me when I read about your piano playing, that when you were playing, you felt connected with everything. What was that kind of feeling?
Well, it's not by accident that many of the great scientists were also musicians, not necessarily professional musicians, but you know, Einstein played the violin, etc. You know, Niels Bohr and all the others. Some of them were quite accomplished musicians. I happen to be also a professional musician in my young days, but it's not accidental, because music, especially, but all forms of art, gives you this sense of oneness, a sense of wholeness, and this is what you're looking for. And all great scientists, same as all great artists, are looking for a sense of wholeness, yes. Sense of oneness.
Yes, but we are also the first generation who could be the last. So is it for you exciting to live in this time, or is it nerve-wracking?
To me, it's exciting. I understand that it can be nerve-wracking. But if you think that you're heading blindly to a catastrophe, then it's nerve-wracking. Then it's like going with a car very fast and you see a wall in front of you and you don't slow down and you don't steer. But I'm aware that we have a steering wheel and there are other ways to go. We don't have to run into the wall. So it's very exciting. I tell you why it's personally also very exciting, because I've started almost 20 years ago dealing with these problems. With the Club of Rome already, you know. It was even more than that, about over 30 years ago, in 72, the limits to growth. Then my own report on the goals for global community in the late 70s. I've started seeing the need to change, but people thought I'm crazy, or very few people thought that I'm correct anyway, you know. And some of them said, okay, yes, maybe he's right, but this is not going to happen anyway. And now what I see in the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years, a tremendous change, that people are recognizing that we can't go on like this, that we need to find ways in which we can live together on this planet, and that the ways very many are recognizing is through our new values, through a new mindset, new way of looking at the world. So to me, it's satisfying in a way.
So you invented the Club of Budapest. What does that club do now?
Well, the Club of Budapest grew out of the Club of Rome. It grew out of the recognition that the ideas that we were discussing in the Club of Rome are good, are right, but they're not effective the way they have been presented. Because primarily it has been presented for the elites, for the government leaders, for business leaders, sometimes for opinion leaders, but not dealing with people, with the large masses of people. And I became convinced that what we need is what you can call a critical mass. We need in society itself a critical mass of people who will change their mindset. Then they elect different governments. It's like happening in Holland already. Then, and I hope it will happen in America. And then you have a different business management coming about, different kind of companies with different management philosophy. Then change can happen. And so how do you do this? Recognize that you need to find ways to communicate with people. So this is why we call together in the Club of Budapest people whose name and whose word counts in the world. Not only as sort of as business people or as politicians, but as people who can speak for people, for society. We started with the Dalai Lama, and then with Václav Havel, and then with Liv Ullmann, and we had Elie Wiesel, we had then Gorbachev joined us. We had two great friends, unfortunately, both of them died in the last few years, Peter Ustinov and Yehudi Menuhin. And these were people who recognized intuitively that what I'm saying, you know, is what we need to communicate. And they joined together what I first called the Artists and Writers Club, which happened to be founded here in Budapest because at the time the Prime Minister, when I talked about it, as in '93, has suggested that we should have a secretariat for this, which we did across the Danube, have our offices, have it ever since then.